Okay, so getting back into our coverage over the Onslaught crossover, we're going to go ahead and pick up with 3 more chapters of this crossover. Now, here's the thing, because all 3 chapters kind of go together in one single storyline where it's the Avengers getting ready for the final strike against Onslaught to hopefully bring him down, but to hopefully save the world as well. Now, here's the thing, because the 3 issues going to cover are the Incredible Hulk issue number 445, Iron Man issue number 332, and Avengers issue number 402. Now, here's the catch. The last 2, Iron Man and Avengers, these were their last issues leading into Heroes Reborn. And what I mean by that statement is that their titles were officially canceled and relaunched in that new reality. For the Hulk, his series kind of continue on for a tad bit more because they did things differently when it came to the Hulk. And I'll explain more of that later on in a different video. Now, these 3 issues are technically impact issues. And remember, impact issues are really more of us kind of seeing how the actions of Onslaught truly affect people across the world. Like, for example, when it came to Generation X, thanks to the actions of Onslaught, we had learned that for that particular team, they're technically sidelined it. When it came to Emma Frost, she wanted to make sure that her students are well protected from Onslaught and far away from him. So that was an impact issues. These 3 issues are the same thing, kind of like how are the actions of Onslaught truly affecting our heroes in different ways. Like, for example, when it came to the end of Phase 1, we had saw Onslaught go out of his way to release an EMP across New York City. Now, when he did that, everything across the city had officially shut down, including subway trains as well. And so for the Hulk right now, in the opening pages of his issue, we are currently seeing him trying to help people who are currently stuck inside a train. Get that train over to a nearby station, open up the doors to allow the folks to be free and try to get somewhere safe. Now, we also have to remember that when it comes to the Incredible Hulk, in his last chapter for this event back in Phase 1, he was being mind controlled by Onslaught to fight against Cable. Now, you had Cable and Storm being able to work together to, well, free the Hulk from his control. But for the Hulk right now, his main focus is to go after Onslaught. Like, he feels like they should go ahead and strike right now before Onslaught is officially ready for almost anything the heroes throw at him. Now, as we all know, it's not a Hulk book without good old Rick Jones. And so we see Rick Jones is not in New York. Matter of fact, he's in LA. Now, when it comes to Rick Jones, he's trying his best to get over to New York because he feels like he should be there alongside with the rest of the heroes. Except by this point in Marvel Comics, when it came to Rick Jones, he was married to Marla Jones. And so for Marla, she's kind of like, dude, no. First off, how dare you try to sneak away from me to Coney Airport to get a flight over to New York? Like, how dare you? But also, I don't want you going over there because there's a possibility that you might die. I need you here. You're my husband. Like, I want to be with you and to hopefully start a family. And so you do have the 2 characters go back home because, well, she drags him away. Now, I kind of want to go ahead and switch back over to the Hulk. And the reason why, because you have the Hulk meeting up with the Avengers at this one particular location that's currently being used as their base, but also give people a safe place to stay. Now, with that being said, we also see here that the Avengers and the Hulk are technically not on the same page here. Like, there is some bad blood between the 2 parties at the moment. Now, for Falcon, he's the only Avenger who's not really like, against the Hulk. And I'll explain here why in a moment. But when it comes to the Hulk, he's kind of like, this is the perfect time to actually attack Onslaught and to hopefully bring him down once and for all. Now, of course, with Steve Rogers, he disagrees. He's like, no, there's no way that you believe that we are ready to go up against a powerful being like that. That is the wrong move to take here. And the reason why you have Steve Rogers disagreeing with the Hulk here is because to the Hulk, he believes if they attack Onslaught right now before he is officially ready, then most likely they can bring him down. But for Steve Rogers, he's saying like, that's a bad idea. Like, one, I already believe that when it comes to Onslaught, he's ready for us. Like, look at his base. It's slowly growing and getting bigger and bigger in the middle of the city. But also, it's Steve saying, like, I feel like Onslaught is ready for us. If we attack, it's a losing battle. So why don't we just stay here and wait until we are able to officially attack him? But the reason why Falcon is like the only one on Hulk's side is because, well, when it came to Falcon's nephew who died by AIDS, a previous storyline in the Hulk series, you had Hulk be there for Falcon's nephew. And so ever since that moment right there for Falcon, Hulk had gained his respect. Now, for the Hulk, he's not going to wait until the heroes are supposedly ready. He believes the right time is here and now. And so you have the Hulk walk away, but you do have different people go with him. So for example, you have Falcon, Hawkeye, you also have Vision. At the very last second, you also have Crystal go as well. Now, for the rest of our heroes, they're going to be in a different type of situation, but we won't see them until Avengers issue number 402. Now, for the Hulk here, he does have a game plan here. His game plan is to basically go underground and just break his way through the bottom of the citadel that belongs to Onslaught. Now, technically that may work, but you see, for Onslaught, he already realized that he may have some visitors very soon. Now, for Betty Brant, or Betty Banner, Bruce Banner's wife, we do see that for Betty, she's watching the news. And with her watching the news, is her kind of realizing that, well, the Hulk is alive and nearby. And so she kind of has hope in the possibility that she may be able to get back with Bruce. But getting back over to Hulk and his team, it kind of leads into the ending of this chapter right here, where you do have the Hulk believe that they were able to capture Onslaught by surprise. And so once you have the Hulk going first, the rest of his team tries to move in to bring Onslaught down, but they officially fail. You see, you have Vision die just like that. You didn't have Hawkeye and Falcon die just like that, leaving Hulk and Crystal. Sorry, I forgot. Crystal also dies just like that. So just leaving the Hulk behind. And so you do have the Hulk being able to beat down over and over and over on Onslaught. And so for the Hulk, it does look like he won. But here's the thing. Onslaught did that on purpose. And the reason why, because with Onslaught playing mind games on the Hulk and his crew, what he wanted to do was to show Hulk's crew like, look, this man does not truly care for you at all. You guys could possibly die, and he would still fight on and be happy about the fact that he was able to accomplish his goal. He does not care for you at all. And so, of course, that right there breaks the team apart. They're kind of like, wait, first off, he played mind games on us to make us believe that we were able to get the jump on him. But on top of that, he showed us that you don't truly care for us at all. Like, you will let us die to possibly bring him down. It's kind of wild. And so this kind of leads us into the ending of this chapter where you have the Hulk go back to the rest of the Avengers. And he does admit to Steve Rogers, like, hey, you know what? You're right. Like, this is not the right time. But he does not tell Steve Rogers why he has a change of heart. But this is where we're going to end this chapter and now move on to the next one, which is an Iron Man issue. Now, when it came to Iron Man issue number 332, this was officially the last issue of Volume 1 when it came to Iron Man, because shortly after Onslaught, we had the whole Heroes Reborn universe given to us, where you had some heroes basically disappear from the main Marvel timeline and went into a brand new timeline. And so when it came to Iron Man, he was one of those characters. And so when that happened, his book got canceled, but he was given a brand new book with his brand new life in that brand new reality. But getting back over to the main storyline, we're picking up with Iron Man, Giant Man, and Quicksilver. Now, for these three characters, they're right now trying to find a power source for the psi armor suit that was mentioned in the Xavier protocols. Remember, when it came to Excalibur issue number 100, we had learned that Charles Xavier had a thing called the Xavier protocol. Basically, he had different files on each member of the X-Men of how to bring them down just in case they ever turn, well, evil, including himself. And so for our heroes, they realized that he had mentioned something called the psi armor. The problem is that they need a power source for it. Now, with that being said, we also have to remember that there are sentinels right now just roaming across the city that is currently being controlled by, well, Onslaught, who's now attacking anybody in New York City, including the Avengers as well. And so for our heroes at the moment, they kind of gotta hide from the Sentinels, but at the same time still accomplish their goal. But you did have our heroes be confronted by Black Panther. Now for Black Panther, he's here to kind of help our heroes and guide our heroes to a location that belongs to him and his people, where basically he's holding on to equipment, but also a power source that could basically help Iron Man build psi armors for every single hero who might be going up against Onslaught very soon. The problem is that while you have Black Panther trying to lead them over to that location, that is when our heroes get attacked by the Sentinels. Now you do have Giant Man stay behind, and the reason why, because with his ability to, make himself larger than normal, he should be able to take on the Sentinels, but to buy the rest of the heroes enough time to get over to Black Panther's location to figure out what kind of equipment that he's currently holding on to, but also what is that power source that could basically help our heroes win against Onslaught as well. Now, when we switch back over to Iron Man, Quicksilver, and also Black Panther, they do arrive at this underground tunnel. Now, of course, for the two heroes from America, they feel like, hey, this is illegal. Like, why in the world do you have some kind of underground tunnel that's basically locked up? We kind of find out that this is the Wakandan embassy. But either way, once you do have our heroes get inside, you have our heroes see all these different types of equipment. And for Iron Man, this is great. This is perfect. And the reason why, because now he can get to work on building the psi armor to help the heroes defeat Onslaught. Now, for the next few pages, you kind of had a story jump back and forth between different settings. So, for example, we do get a page where it's right now Giant Man trying his best to fight against the Sentinels, but the man is barely being able to hold on because these things are just with so many different types of weapons. It's kind of hard for him to overcome what he's currently fighting against at the moment. But as we get back over to the rest of our heroes, we do learn what that power source that Black Panther plans on giving over to Iron Man to build a psi armor for every single hero going up against Onslaught. And of course, there's no surprise at all, it's vibranium. And of course, Black Panther is holding onto a huge pile of it. So of course, for Tony Stark, he can now get to work in building all these different psi armors for all the different heroes. But as we get back over to the battle between Giant Man and also the Sentinels, we see that he is officially defeated by the Sentinels. Like I said earlier, the dude was barely holding on, but luckily for him, you had Quicksilver go back to help him out and get him away from the Sentinels, but of course at the very last second. But as we get back over to Iron Man and also Black Panther, we do learn that they were able to finish the project just in time. And the reason why, because you had the Sentinels find them and try to attack them. Now for our heroes, they do dip out and they do go their separate ways. But for Iron Man, he does go to regroup with Giant Man and also Quicksilver. When he does, he shows us and them that he was able to make the psi armors for all the different heroes who will be going up against Onslaught very soon at the end of this crossover. And so really, that's it for his chapter in this crossover. But again, this was the last issue for Iron Man back in 1990s. Now, when it came to Avengers issue number 402, This was also the last issue for Volume 1 of the Avengers, leading into Heroes Reborn. And so when it came to this issue right here, it kind of starts off the same way for the Hulk, where basically, thanks to Onslaught, his EMP, shutting down all the power across New York City, you had folks still trapped inside subway trains across New York. And so you have the Avengers right now working together to kind of help get the people to a nearby subway station, but to also free them from the train as well. Now, of course, these people are just running like crazy because they were trapped inside a subway for who knows how long, hours, 3, 4, 5, could have been more than that. But thankfully, the Avengers had arrived to help them out. Now, when you do have the Avengers being able to get back over to the surface, we are kind of given a few more examples of like how crazy the city had truly become thanks to Onslaught just releasing that EMP in the ending of phase 1 of this crossover. So you have the Avengers right now just trying their best to figure out what to do here and how to help out all these different groups of people who are basically trapped in all these different types of places. Now, you do have the Avengers kind of wonder like, where in the world is Black Widow? Because she was supposed to be here by the time they got there as well. And I kind of like this a lot because it kind of shows that when it comes to an incident like this, people are going to go crazy left and right. And unfortunately for Black Widow and for the Avengers, they really can't do anything about that. All they can do is just be there for the folks who are freaking out, because you have all these different people just grabbing Black Widow left and right because they want her help for different types of reasons. Like, hey, I want to get out of here, or my wife is trapped, or I can't find my kids. But you do have Steve Rogers being able to pull Black Widow away from those crowd of people. But right after she does that, we're kind of given this idea that Steve Rogers just scared. Like, he's freaking out because all this chaos happening across New York is just too much for him to handle. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not the case. Like, literally, it's Steve Rogers at the moment just kind of figuring out what to do here. Like, how can he truly be a hero to these people? How to help these folks out the best he can. But for Wasp, she believes that Steve Rogers is freaking out because he's not really able to give answers or directions on how to handle different things popping up left and right across the city. But while you have that going on, you didn't have Iron Man appear. And of course, Giant Man and also Quicksilver. So this kind of brings in the whole idea of what happened in Iron Man, where you do have Iron Man bring over the side armors for the different heroes to use as they get ready for their final battle against, of course, Onslaught very soon. But while you have the heroes right now being amazed by Iron Man's work, you did have our heroes be confronted by Post and also Holocaust. Now, these are two characters who are really powerful, who are working for Onslaught at the moment, and of course, giving our heroes a hard time here. And so for our heroes, they're really struggling when it comes to fighting against, well, Post and Holocaust. Now, for Wasp, she does look at Steve Rogers for some kind of answer here, like, hey, Steve, how in the world can we handle this situation? The problem is that for Steve, at first, he's completely frozen. And then he says, we can't win against them. We can't beat them. And for the Wasp, it kind of seems like it's him officially kind of giving up here. But that's not the case, because for Steve Rogers, he never backs down so easily. Because for Steve Rogers, he understands what they have to do here if they want to win. And so you have Steve making sure that Holocaust hits Post. With Post now out of the way, then our heroes had the ability to gang up on Holocaust to hopefully bring him down, which they are able to do. And so it kind of shows like, yeah, for Steve Rogers, he knew he couldn't beat them head on, but he knew as soon as one of them is able to take the other one out, the last one will be easier to take out if we all just gang up together. And so for Steve Rogers, kind of shows that he's still a great leader of the Avengers. Now, with all that being said, you didn't have our heroes just gang up on Holocaust and being able to defeat him. But this kind of leads us into the ending of the video, because once you do have our heroes being able to defeat both Post and Holocaust, you then have our heroes get a message from Onslaught on a TV screen where it's basically him saying like, hey, listen guys, so you may defeated them, but there's no way that you'll be able to bring me down. If we do fight, it will be your final battle. And so, of course, for our heroes, they're kind of like, listen, if it is our final battle, we're going to make sure we at least bring you down. And so this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.